What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Transparency Nolan Wells episode 3. This was a interview that happened late last night. I almost went live for it, but so this happened on 7/21/2026, and that is Warren Hudson confirms my bombshell find on El Camino, which before this came out last night, I was developing one of these puppies for you, and it is we have a problem. Here it is. And our problem is during this whole, the past however many days it's been now, there was more boats than just one boat that went out there. Okay. And nobody's talking about these other boats. So what I went ahead and did here is and I'm going to break it on down for you during this interview so you could see. And I'm going to show you guys a bunch of pictures so you guys can understand who I'm talking about. But this 4 core of people, Warren Hudson, Wyatt, Nolan, and then Eli, Jax, Pitalo. Now, the Pitalo family is like royalty in that town. And so that's the family, the grandparents that have the house on El Camino. That's where everybody met up to use. They were at that private dock. I'm going to talk a little bit about that dock and that multiple boats can be there. So we have boat 1, boat 2, and boat 3 here. And before this young man came out and spoke, which I'm so glad that he did, but before he even spoke last night, or at least this was broken down and put out last night, I had been working at it for hours to put together a list of the core friends group and break them down into ages. Because I don't know about you guys, but I have a pretty big family, and I have cousins that are the same age as me. I have cousins that are a lot younger than me, and I have cousins that are like a lot older than me. And some people can even mistake some of my cousins, when you're talking about Italian families, as like my uncles or aunts, because Italian families are pretty big. So, for example, my dad was born in Italy. My dad is one of 9. So, yes. But my dad and his siblings, there was a break-off point because my grandfather's first wife had passed away. And so, like, my grandma, who's my dad's mom, when my grandfather got remarried, then he had kids with my grandma, but I consider all my cousins. I mean, it just, that's how we were raised. It wasn't like everybody thought that my grandma was their grandma as well, or their mom, if it was one of my dad's siblings from my grandfather's first wife. Anyways, so we're going to break down these ages. I immediately thought it was interesting when I saw that the Katie girl was older than Nolan, and not just by like a year or something like that. Nolan graduated not this past year, but the year before. And so when you subtract and you do the math, Katie was a junior in 2021. Katie's a smart girl too. Katie got a 30 on her ACTs. During high school, Katie's mother passed away from cancer. Really sad, in 2019. And Katie, what I could find is her connection to all of this was she is friends with Trent Pitalo. And Trent and Eli Jax are both 23 years old. And that's more like where Katie's at. Katie's, I think, 22. 21, 22, something like that. And then these boys are 23. So I'm going to play the interview for you. But as this came out, I was like, this kid basically confirmed everything that I had been working on. And all of these kids are no stranger to the water. These kids grew up on the water. They were like born and raised on this water. This is like their backyard. Fishing galore. they would always, like, their families would take them on their boats growing up to Horn Island. So I think that's really important to understand, that this was not some place that these kids had never been. And we are talking about 20 to 30 kids going out there together on multiple boats, getting out there and then tying up together. And so what I don't understand is why anybody is not saying, where's the GPS on these other boats? Where's, just because that one boat went in, we have all that, but where are these other boats? Truly, where are these other boats? It's a big deal when you're going to decide to leave. You got to pull up your anchors. You got to untie, doing all that stuff. I mean, it's a production. It's not like an Irish goodbye. Okay. But where are these other boats? And so we're going to listen to this interview, and then we're going to come back to a bunch of different pictures, and then back to this spreadsheet. So this was going to be a 2-parter or 3-parter potentially.
She's some very pointed questions.
This is from the Officer Tatum show. So right here, to your right, this is Warren.
I mean, just straight out. The first thing I want to ask you is, did you kill Nolan? All right, Warren, we had a chance to get to know each other over the last, 2 days. Went out to Horn Island. So I've had an opportunity to talk to you about a few things, and the things that you've told me have literally blown my mind. But the world haven't had a chance yet to hear your story, to hear Nolan's story through you, through his friend. And it's not just you, it's a bunch of y'all. But, some of the other guys were afraid because of the threats and the violence that's been threatened against their lives and all of the above.
Okay. So speaking of violence, we went and got the crime reports from July 6, 2026. On July 6, 2026, calls for service / arrests. Dax, D-A-X, Pitalo reported harassing phone calls. That address was provided, and that was one of the addresses that I had for one of these boys. Dax is like the dad. Again, that last name, Pitalo, P-I-T-A-L-O. This was reported on, which was really July 5th, but once it passed midnight, then it becomes July 6th.
You decided that you wanted to take this bold step and give a statement and, get your side out here. And I want to start at the very beginning of all of this and ask you, what was your relationship like with Nolan? Who was he to you?
Nolan, I could describe Nolan in a million ways. I mean, Nolan was not just a best friend of me, but he was a brother. I grew up through elementary, middle school, high school.
So I listened to this interview. I went back and checked social media, and I can prove everything that he says about them being in their core group of friends. Nolan is with them. He went to his dances and stuff like that. And the groups that you're going with when you're, taking your pictures and going with your group of core friends with your dates, he's with these kids. Okay. So what he's saying right here, I was able to corroborate based off of the social media posts, just not on Nolan stuff, but a bunch of other people's sites.
And even our freshman year of college, we talked on the phone all the time. We were really close friends. And Nolan was like a brother to me. And Nolan lit up every room he walked in. He always had a smile on his face. He always had something good to say. I've never seen Nolan get in an argument with somebody and say bad things about someone. There's a lot of people that talk crap nowadays, and Nolan was never that person. Sweetest soul ever. And I had a great relationship with Nolan. I've never got in an argument with Nolan. We were super close, and I've never said or will ever have anything bad to say about Nolan Wells.
Yeah, and you guys, you said you kind of grew up together. Mm-hmm. Did you know his mom, or how was that? Because I saw in the media where it appears that she may have said, at least I saw in part, that she said as if she didn't know any of you guys.
Right. Well, Nolan, a lot of the times was at my house and at my buddy's house. We never went to Nolan's house and hung out. And my friend group's very, very tight knit. We hang out every day when we're back home from school. In high school, we hung out most weekdays and every day on the weekend. And we were never at Nolan's house, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I met his father, and in 8th grade, that's when Nolan and I got really close. It was COVID year, and we were in class all year long together, me and a couple of my buddies. And Nolan and I just got super tight because we'd get a Waffle House once a week together, eat. And I mean, we were just super, super close. But his dad would swing by Waffle House, you know, and like, you know, hang out around us, but never, you know, I was never around Nolan's parents a lot. But I mean, that didn't change our relationship any. Nolan and I were still just as close, and he was just as close with my friends as, you know, anyone else. So.
And walk me through the day of 4th of July where you guys were all going out.
Right.
This seems like something that I would assume that may have occurred more than just this year.
Yeah, of course.
Was it something that you guys did more than just this year? It's a two-part question. I want to know, is it something that you guys typically did together, that you hang out often in this fashion? And then I want you to then walk me through 4th of July this year when the incident happened.
Okay. You know, being from the Gulf Coast, there's a boating and fishing is very, very popular. The 4th of July, every year, my friends and I, or my family and I, are out on the water. I mean, that's the one day is guaranteed everybody's going out. And that's a known thing. Everybody's trying to get a ride out to Horn Island, or, you know, people go to Ship Island, but most of everybody from Ocean Springs and the Gulf Coast go to Horn Island. And, you know, we went last year. Nolan was on the boat with me last year. And he was, I mean, this was a common thing. My friends go on the boat when we're home. Very, very common. That's what we like to do. My friends like to fish also, and like to go on the boat, not just fishing, but like to go on the boat, like to go on.
Okay. So I want to say this. The only thing that I thought was just interesting, and I made a note of it, is that he never refers to the group of friends as our friends, like our friends do this. It's always like my friends, my friends, my friends. I don't think it's weird at all that they never hung out at Nolan's, not one bit. Depending on people's work schedules, some parents are like, you're not having people at my house unless I'm there. But I will say this is, for as much as Nolan was hanging out with them and at their houses, I know for me, my son's not hanging out at anybody's house that I don't freaking know them and their parents, that I've introduced myself, that I, you know, I don't want to say parents are out there stalking other people's parents and stuff like that, but you're definitely should know who your kids are hanging out with. But depending on what you like to do and what's at certain people's houses, a lot of these kids, they had water access. And if they're out on the boats and doing that type of stuff, I mean, where are you going to hang out? People have pools. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't see anything weird about that. One of my best friends growing up, she always came with us everywhere. Her parents worked a lot, but we would take her skiing. We'd go to practice together, whatever. But I don't think anything's weird about that.
Sunset cruises, like to do it all, you know, on the water, you know. And I mean, Nolan loved to do that too. I mean, he was not like he was just like everyone else in our friend group. He loved to go on the water and, you know, have a good time with the guys. And that's what we did a lot. But 4th of July, everybody was out there. Like I said, like Nolan was always trying to go on the boat, trying to go out there with us. And he was always welcome to come. Nolan was always out there with us. And, but started 4th of July, you know, my buddies and I had talked about this week's upcoming, you know, everybody's very, very excited for the 4th of July from down here. Like it's a big thing.
It's a big deal. Huh?
Very, very big deal. And, I mean, I actually stayed with Nolan that night at my buddy's house, and
you're right there. I actually stayed with Nolan that night at my buddy's house. What you're going to see throughout this interview is that he basically, I believe some kids said, hey, yeah, tell them whatever, but just don't say our names if you're going to talk, you know? And so this specific kid here did not want his name. And so he was trying to do a really good job of like always making sure he said my buddy's house, or we said at my buddy's house, or then my buddy's boat, you're going to see. Well, I believe this buddy to be, and I want to say, I believe that this buddy is one of the Pitalo boys. So again, take that with a grain of salt. But
I woke up at my buddy's house, and we went to McDonald's, got food. Nolan was not with me, and I went.
Okay, so they sleep at this buddy's house. This would be the house that Nolan left his truck with his keys at. Okay, then he's saying in the morning, we wake up, we go get food, and then he quickly corrects the fact that Nolan didn't go to McDonald's. Okay. So was it just like you were running over there to get food for everybody else to bring it back? Or is Nolan like, I don't eat McDonald's? Or, I mean, but he specifically has to correct that. And I believe that's important because he's probably had to talk to the police. And when they go ahead and they like pin you down on things, I thought you guys said that you went to McDonald's. No, actually, we just went. He stayed back. I guess he didn't come with us. But so that's why I believe he corrected himself there because of the whole. I know they've been trying to figure out when did Nolan have his last like meal. Okay. So that's what I think that's all about. You guys can think it's whatever, and that's awesome.
Got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up to my truck. And well, first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back, and the boat was already hooked up to my truck. My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddy, and we went.
Okay, so right there. Then he drops the name Wyatt. So I was able to eliminate that the buddy that he is talking about is not Wyatt. So I eliminate Wyatt. Wyatt's name is said. So he has his buddy, he has Wyatt and Nolan. Okay. And let's see. I'm just going to back up just a second. He goes to his house. He runs to his house. He gets something.
And I went and got breakfast. I had my buddy's boat hooked up.
I had my buddy's boat hooked up. You're not going to do all of that while running around. You're going to do your running around, and then you're going to come back. So this is what's interesting for me is that he says, listen.
To my truck. And well, first I ran to my house, then I went to McDonald's and came back, and the boat was already hooked up to my truck.
Right there. He ran to McDonald's. He went to his house. He didn't use his truck to do any of that. There's no way, because that's not how you would word it, in my opinion. When you're going off and doing that stuff, hey, I'm leaving my truck. You guys come over, get it all ready to go. We're going to go get ice and stuff like that. That's what I'm assuming, which is to me is normal. Like you want everybody to be chipping in so it doesn't take a big, long time to, prep and get down there. But I think that he was in somebody else's vehicle when he went to his home and when he went to McDonald's. Or there's a little issue here. And then so I left my truck here, used my truck to hook up my buddy's boat. Usually if you have a boat, you have a truck. So I just, why do you need to put a boat onto his truck? And then I said, well, because buddies have more than one boat. Especially the Pitalos. The Pitalos have multiple boats. So then that would make sense that, hey, we want to take, his boat and his boat here. So put that on your truck. And then I just keep thinking in my head, though, that doesn't everybody have, if you have a boat, you have a truck. But we'll continue.
My buddy Wyatt and I went, and with my buddy, and we went, filled the top of the boat off, loaded it down with ice.
That means you topped it off with gas.
And just got everything ready. Then Wyatt went and put his smaller boat in the water, which is the Palm.
Okay, so then Wyatt goes and takes his smaller boat and puts his smaller boat in the water.
Palm Beach. He's an 18-foot Palm Beach, and I drove the boat from Fort Bayou Boat Launch to my buddy's grandparents' house, and
right there, that's when it sealed the deal for me. My buddy's grandparents' house. The buddy that he keeps referring to and he won't say his name? Well, guess who the grandparents are? So I'm working and putting all my stuff together. And when I said that Warren Hudson confirms my bombshell find and El Camino is that my bombshell find here is that that's the Pitalo's house. That's where everything was happening there at the private dock was the Pitalo's house. The grandparents travel a lot. The grandparents, Jordy and Darlene, from what I can see is, really good family. Doctor. They travel a lot. They have their, so like their sons would be the dads of these kids that they're talking about here. And then that's That's that age gap that I'm referring to. Because when you talk about the Pitalos, you're talking about now you're moving up into that age range of 23, and they're 18. And Katie McCormick, who she knows from my research, she's friends on social media with Trent Pitalo. And I bet you she would be friends with Eli Jax, but from my understanding, he privated or just completely, deleted his socials.
That's where we all plan to meet up that day. And
you say we all, who you're talking about? You, Nolan, and how many people are going to meet you guys there?
We had roughly 20 to 30 people coming on 3 separate boats with us. And so we were all following each other out there as one big group. It wasn't just me and Nolan and a couple other my buddies. There was 20 or 30 people spread out where we all met at the dock before, and then we departed to go to Horn Island. It wasn't just a couple of us. I mean, there were so many people, we had to split up between 3 boats, and we all left and all got there at the same time.
Yeah.
All right. Now, this is where I get these 3 boats from, because he says 3 boats. I already knew that there had to be multiple boats, but he uses the number 3. I believe it's more than 3. Okay. I believe it's more than 3 because basically Wyatt's putting in 2 of his boats. He goes and gets the Palm, the 18-footer, and then you're going to hear about this Triton boat. And then you're going to hear about a guy named Bart, his dad's boat. And then if you're going to the buddy's grandparents' house where y'all are meeting at, there ain't no way that you're not getting any of the Pitalos boats. It's just not happening. Okay. Why wouldn't the Pitalos be using any? I mean, they have multiple boats here. So that's where I think there's more than 3 boats. And they definitely do not all arrive at the same time. If he's arriving on a boat at 10:45 on the island, Nolan's boat doesn't arrive until 11:17. His mom here, yes, it's his stepmother. Warren's parents are divorced. The other name, so his last name, his dad's last name, is what he has. And then his mom's last name is a Seymour, Seymour. And we'll get into that because there's a Morgan Seymour to dude. He did away with his socials for right now, which I don't blame any of these kids. Just because you do it with your socials, trust me, like I want you on all my shit, commenting on all my pictures, writing all crazy crap like that. I have to have that on my socials for the rest of my life because of, people being ignorant. So
I just want to make sure that's clear because the statements that are out there made it appear that it was just you, Nolan, and probably 2 or 3 other guys, and y'all are the only ones that went out to this island.
And that's completely incorrect. I mean, Horn Island on the 4th of July is the most popular day to be on the water on, throughout the entire Gulf Coast. I mean, everybody and their mom is on the water on 4th of July, There's no telling. I mean, roughly probably 2 to 3, maybe even 4,000 people out there. There were boats lined up off the island. I mean, there was 3 rows of boats all the way until my vision ended, until I could see of people there was 1 row of boats, and then there was another row of boats, and then there was a 3rd row of boats. Yeah. I mean, there was people lined up all up and down the island to where, who knows? I mean, and that wasn't just, we were parked on the north side, on the west tip. It wasn't just there. I mean, there's tons of people packed out on the south side and on the east end and in the middle of the island. But just where we were, there was easily 1,000 people. It wasn't just us.
Let's go back a little bit.
Okay. So this is important right there. He describes to us where exactly they went. And they went to the north. They're at the west. So like right when you're coming up to it, that's the west side. And then if you were to continue to go and continue to travel, you're going to go more towards the east. And the north side is on the downside, which when you're looking up from the airplane, that's where you can kind of see like the boats and stuff where Nolan's being at. What I thought was interesting is right where Nolan was found is where they were. So he describes exactly they're at the on the north side of the island and not the west tip. And from my experience, I've never been out here, but if you don't get out there early, like you're coming in, unless you have friends that are like trying to like create space and stuff. So when you come in, you're going to be the deep row people.
I want to go back to you guys at the dock, getting on the boat. You're saying there's multiple people, probably 20 or 30 people getting on 3 boats.
Right.
I love how he redirects it and wants to really like love it. Love this.
What boat were you on and what boat was Nolan on?
Nolan was on Wyatt's 22 Triton.
Okay, right there. Wyatt's 22 Triton. Okay. So Wyatt's 18 footers in, and now his 22 footer is in.
On the way out, I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down. And I called Bart that morning. I was like, "Hey, man, can you take your boat out?" And he was like, "Yeah, well, my dad's."
Okay. Hey, man, can you take your boat out? Why are you making plans with Bart last minute? Why do you need another boat? Hey, can you take your boat out? Hey, Bart, can you take your boat out? That tells me we have way more people than we have boats when you need somebody to bring a boat out. Versus like, hey, do you want to come boating with us? Will you bring your jet skis? Because we really want your jet skis, but you gotta come boating with us because we can't just be like, look, we're gonna invite you just so we can use your toys. So yeah. So here he hits up Bart, like he said earlier in the interview, they had been making plans for weeks. So why does Bart get the last minute call? Now, my research shows that Bart is older, and since he's calling Bart to invite Bart to come, it would then make sense. Like, here, I'm going to get on Bart's boat. Like, I invited him. So like, when we're going to be dividing up, like he knows me, I know him, type of thing.
Decided not to go, and I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends. Of course. I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And
hey, right there. I'll take you and your friends. That's something that somebody says, like if they're like a parent.
Bart, I called Bart that morning. I was like, "Hey, man, can you take your boat out?" And he was like, "Yeah, well, my dad decided not to go, and I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends." Of course. I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and I mean, I rode out there with Bart and a lot of the girls that go to college with my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton. And then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton.
Okay. So right there, he's saying that there's 4 people on.
Girls that go to college with my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton. And then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the.
Okay. So ready? Let me tell you what I believe happened here. I believe that they were short a boat or 2, at least a boat they needed. That tells me if you spent the evening in the night at your buddy's, which is one of the Pitalo's houses, and then they're all, hey, we're all going to meet at my grandparents because they have the house that's right there on the water. There's a dock, there's slips, there's dry docks, there's plenty of room for a bunch of boats. If they're doing counts of how many people and who's all coming, we don't have enough room. That would mean with those kids' boats, unless those kids, the Pitalos, unless their family was using the boats. So, but something happened last minute via numbers. It sounds like he needs another boat. So the first boat he talks about, there's going to be 4 people on it.
Triton, and then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton, and then there was the rest of the group, which was ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people on my buddy's tide line, which is 24 tide line.
And so you guys get on, and I know a little bit more than the audience do because we went out there a little earlier because I wanted to see exactly what the drive was like, what the dock was like, how far it is out there.
Of course.
But I want you to tell, the audience, like.
Okay. So 4 people on the one. What do you say? 6 or 8 on the other, and then 10 to 16 on the one. And is he now referring to like that? That's Bart's boat? Because I would be thinking that how come Nolan wasn't on the boat that Warren's on, right? Unless this was like a way bigger sleepover, like a bunch of dudes kicking it at a house that's like, and then I said, well, if it's at a house that's like the Pitalos, is at a house that a couple 23-year-olds are living in, that there is no parents there. I don't know.
What was this trip like? You know, how was the waters? You know, did you guys do anything in between the time you rode and the time you get to the island? Was there music? Is it like a big party? Like what is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously music's blasting. It's 4th of July, man. I mean, you know how, I mean, everybody's really excited. And I mean, we had a lot of people loaded down. So obviously our biggest, you know, we're just trying to make sure everybody, you know, gets out there safe. And
okay, so here's my question for all of you guys. If the police are involved and you hear the story, why would you only be concerned with one boat and what that boat did? You wouldn't. You'd want to know every boat. Hey, here's the group of people that we all went together with. Okay. He just says he lifts off like 20 or 30 people. These are the boats. Well, then why aren't we getting the GPSs on those other boats? I'm just curious to know what time those boats leave, come back, take a look at the cameras to see what's up. Also, wouldn't you be interested to make sure that Nolan didn't come back on any of those boats?
So, I mean, on the way out there, it was pretty calm. I think it was blowing like 3 or 4 knots. I mean, the waters were clear. It was a great day to be on the water. Sunshine, not cloudy at all. And I mean, it was a great day to be out there on 4th of July. And so, I mean, we followed each other out, and I mean, it was calm. It was calm. On the way back, it was a little more rough, but it was not anything. Okay.
On the way back, it was a little bit more rough. Now, hopefully it comes out in part 2 or part 3. We don't get to hear in part 1 here. Well, what time did your boat go back in? What time did this other boat go back in? Based off of there's 3 boats. So we know the one boat and its GPSs, right? You guys, there's 2 other boats. One of which is a bigger size boat that had 10 to 16 people on it. It's a lot of fucking people.
All my buddies' boats couldn't handle, or like it wasn't like we were getting really beat up or anything. I mean, it was pretty calm.
And so you guys get out there. I'm assuming that you line the boats up, because I'm envisioning the picture of getting out there and there's hundreds of boats. Mm-hmm. There's thousands of people. Yeah. So it wasn't just you guys on a deserted island.
Of course not.
A few people. This is thousands of people out there.
Right.
And there's a lot of people doing what? What does it look like when you first pull up?
I pull up, and we pulled up at 10:30. I mean, it wasn't, early afternoon. I mean, it wasn't, but 10:30 is, it's still pretty early in the day. And when we got there was already 3 rows of boats lined up all the way, like I said, until I could see. And
you're talking, when you say all you can see, you're speaking about miles.
Yeah.
A boat. When we went out there earlier today, when we went out there, the island is massive.
Correct.
I mean, it's just several miles long.
Roughly 10 to 12 miles. I mean, it's.
So you think that the boats were stretching from one end to the next, or just a small area of about a mile or less than a mile of boats?
Well, I mean, I think there was boats all the way around the entire island, but I think some spots were more popular than others. Like the West Tip is usually very, very crowded on the 4th of July, and everybody knows that. So that's where a lot of people park, because they want to be around other people. And the East End's a little more, there's not as many people. But
think about it like this: the West End, that's what you approach first. You're able to people watch like a motherfucker. You're on the West, you see everybody that's coming past.
There's still a lot of boats out there. I mean, it's not like no one. I mean, every area of Horn Island is covered 100%.
Wow. So you get out there, y'all jump out. What do you do? When I say jump out, you're obviously not just sitting on the boat. The island is there. Like, what exactly are people doing there? Like, are you spending more time in the water, on the island, in the boat? Like, how is that? How does that look out there?
I mean, everybody, as soon as you get there, I mean, there's people on boats, grabbing drinks and, food, whatever else. Like, I mean, everybody is fully prepared for the 4th of July. They bring, all the drinks and food that they need because, I mean, they've been preparing for 4th for a little while now. But when we got there, I helped my buddies tie the boats up because the tie line was right here, the Palm Beach was in the middle, and then the Triton was on the outer side. And there was about a drop off from where the bow was. I mean, if you jumped off the bow, you were probably about neck deep in water. But if you got off the stern, you were probably waist deep in water. I mean, but when we got there, we tied up, got, bow and rear anchor set, and we tied up all the boats, made sure they were good, and everyone just got on the water. Then eventually, next thing you know, it's our group. And then, next thing you know, there's 50 other people around us. And then it just grew and grew as the day came on. And, I mean, that's just how it was. Everybody's drinking, I mean, it's 4th of July. Everyone's just trying to enjoy themselves. And, it's a big party, basically. Big party.
Yeah. So y'all pretty much having a good time. Just like anybody.
So three boats are tied up. That means in order to leave, you have to untie from, like, this is like not an Irish goodbye. This is hey, we're going to leave because our boat's taken in water. Okay. So you'd have to untie and depending if you're the middle boat, if you're on the end, I mean, it's more of a process if you're in the middle between the two other boats. So again, it's a process. You just can't you just don't skate away. Because you want to, again, depending if you're the middle boat, you have to keep the other boats then together. So you got to tie them. This is a process. It's very important. His interview, part 1, was really, really helpful.
I would imagine 18-year-olds, probably 20-year-olds, college students out on the island, women, you probably had alcohol. So y'all having a good time.
Yeah, of course.
And so where's Nolan in this? You guys out there, the friend groups out there, 3 boats full of people that came out there that seem to be the closest friend group.
Right.
Where's Nolan in this in comparison to where you and others are at?
Well, I had a couple conversations with Nolan that day, and I talked to him and a couple of my other buddies. In a group, I was not focused on anyone solely, looking and pointing anyone out, because there's so many people out there. I mean, I was talking to my friends that I haven't seen in a while from high school. I was talking to people I knew from college. I was talking to, everybody my age, and even people older than us were, over there. I mean, it was just a regular thing. We're all used to this. We've been out to the islands before. My buddies don't just go out to the island on 4th of July, but they go out, every weekend. And I fished the islands. I don't just, fish around Horn Island. I fish around Ship Island too. So I'm very familiar with the islands. And I feel like it was just a big, I talked to Nolan, and, Nolan was drinking. Everybody was drinking, most of everybody. And I mean, Nolan seemed completely fine every time I talked to him. We had just regular conversations, and, Nolan was making me laugh. I had a couple conversations with Nolan and Javon, Nolan and my buddy James, Nolan. And I mean, I could tell you, I mean, I talked to Nolan a couple times, but it wasn't like I was strictly sitting there talking to Nolan the whole day. I mean, there was hundreds of people I knew out there. So,
yeah. And Nolan said something interesting. You told me about this. Something he said to you, I would say would be indicative of y'all's friendship.
Right.
And then he also mentioned
something got edited out there. Take a look.
Yeah. And Nolan said something interesting. You told me about this. Something he said to you, I would say would be indicative of y'all's friendship.
Right.
And then he also mentioned something to you about that particular day and what it meant to him.
Right.
And could you share that?
Right. Yeah. So Nolan and my buddy Javon are talking, and, I grew up with Nolan, and Nolan's, just like I said, just so joyful, always happy. Every picture I have with Nolan or picture I have of Nolan, he's smiling. I mean, he's always happy. If I always need a shed of light, I'm calling Nolan, and Nolan and I laugh and joke a lot. That's how our friend group is. We're really jokingly laugh. No one takes anything that serious. We enjoy our time together. I mean, there's never any awkwardness within our friend group. We're very, very tight. So if I ever need to get something off my chest or talk to anybody, I'm talking to all my friends. I'm not just talking to specifically anybody. I would go out, even if I'm having issues with something, I go talk to my group chat, and my guys are there to, give me a hand anytime I need it. And all my guys are, all my buddies are the same exact way. Nolan was the same exact way. If you ever need something, I'm here, man. That's how he was. So.
And then you guys get ready to leave prematurely.
Right.
And explain that, because you guys got there around 10.
Yeah.
It's now 4:30. Right. People are still out there partying, and they're having a good time, but something happened to where it necessitated you guys to get the boat up and running. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So
that's where it stops. That's what part two coming soon. Okay. I know. I was thinking about that. He's always smiley, right? Any thoughts that chat wants to say on the interview? Again, that's just part one. As you can see, it's going to be getting into part two. Irish goodbyes. Oh, that's just when you just leave. You don't say goodbye to anybody. It's just like you just leave. You just go. Like as you're leaving, you're waving. Like that. You dip out. From afar. I don't believe this guy thinks, hold on. I don't believe this guy thinks he believes every single one of them. Lana, what you ask that Tatum hasn't asked? Oh, I have to hear the rest of it. I think he's doing a really good job of going back and like, okay, so hey, you guys, I'd have been a little bit more detailed about asking. So the one kid puts in 2 boats, but you had a boat on the back. What boat were you pulling? Because I'd want to see which boat he was pulling. I would say something along the lines of is, we hear about a lot of guys that were on the boats with their girls as well too. Were people out there like that were dating, or was it just all like single people? Did you guys have like your people go out with their girlfriends or their boyfriends? And I would have asked about the kid that says, I was going to ride with Nolan, but his boat was full. So I had to wait for the next one. That tells me that he would have had to have been on the 3rd boat because Warren goes first. And if it's a process of elimination, and then if Nolan's on a boat that he couldn't get on, and Nolan and Warren aren't on the same boat, it's like those little word problems that they give you when you're younger. So since Warren and Nolan weren't on the same boat, I was able to determine that the friend that came out and said, yeah, I had went out there, but I wasn't on the same boat. And so the boat was full and I had to wait for the next one. And so what that means to me is that you weren't on the first, you weren't on the first one because Nolan was still there. And Nolan and this dude weren't together. So they're on separate boats. That means you're on the 3rd one. And the 3rd one is the one that had like the 10 to 16 people. So I'd be curious to ask that kid how many people were on his boat that he went out there on. And then we're going to come to my $1 million question, which is, did all 3 of these boats leave at the same time when the one boat started to have issues? Because the answer to that is no. The answer to that is no. So this to me seems like if you just take one boat away from a group of 3 because it's going to leave to go back in, for Nolan to say, no, I'm not gonna leave with that boat. The way that I looked at this is that you weren't necessarily designated to a boat that you were on. It was like, this is our group. These are our boats. And this is just how we divided up to go out there. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it's like high school when you get on a freaking bus and you're going to go somewhere. I mean, and you guys have like 10 buses. So that's what I see. I see that it's like, okay, so the one boat leaves. We have to hear from the kid to say, we know that the other boats didn't leave. So how is there this disconnect? Nolan had 2 other boats if those 2 don't leave. Plus allegedly, supposedly ready for this whole like whatever boat Katie was on. Now this rumor got started that was Katie on a boat that was like her dad's or whatever. No, I don't see that. I think that that'll be interesting to hear more about that. If you're in this area, like how far off are you going to walk? When the one boat's going, I don't know. Did you see who all got in it? You'd have to ask that kid when that boat left. How long after did you guys leave? That has not come up. I'm curious if he's already done it all, the part 2 and the part 3, or if there was maybe like some issues and they were like, hey, you need to pull that. We don't want you to put that out there. But I could now see, I'm just saying, I could see that it's more, how do I want to say this? It's not so clear and cut dry that, hey, this is the people that you came out here with and this is who you're going to, be leaving with. If these other kids stayed back because they have other boats, just like how they split up, then to me, it makes perfect sense why he didn't leave. He has the other boats with the other people, unless we're talking about a numbers thing. Hey, so many people have to leave because we don't have enough boats to get everybody. If that boat only went back with 3 people, do the math. How are we getting everybody back? So, I just think that this whole thing of him wanting to stay back because of a girl, that's just interesting that's how that got worded. Unless he's going to come out and say that every single boat that they came with left. But if this kid comes out in part 2 and just says that boat left and the other boats didn't leave, or at least we know that's at least one of them didn't, because his friend who came out and talked, Nolan's friend came out and said, I saw him last at this time and he was still there. His friend was still there. Please don't make me watch that press conference video. Oh, fuck that press conference. That's not even a press conference. No. So he stayed behind on the island with the girl. No, he didn't. That's not what, I don't know how this story started. You guys, that's also the media. That's like hearsay. You know how many things that everybody got wrong in the Idaho 4 case? But right here, so this is what people should be looking at. There's 2 other boats. And all these kids were like all friends all together. So until all of these boats would have left, nobody's leaving Nolan until these boats are gone. So Wyatt, boat 3 down here, it arrives at 11:17 a.m. at Horn. The boat that Warren was on, Bart's dad's boat, it arrives at 10:45. I thought I had him at 10 or 16 people, 7 or 8. And then that's why I think that there's 4 boats. This is how I look at it. So you play fill in the blanks here. So this kid has 2 boats. This All right, so boat 1 is the 18-footer, 4 people. So who was on that boat? Morgan's the guy's name. So you got Morgan Seymour. You got that Eric kid. You have potentially Evan. There's this James kid, Javion. We have to put him on there. And then, so this is what I want to show you guys some pictures. You have to look at who the girls are friends with. All right. Girls won't break apart. So we're going to restructure people because people are dating. So those 6 people, there's 3 girls and 3 guys because they brought their girlfriends. Okay. Then you have to ask yourself, was there anybody that came out that were single girls that maybe were newly single, and did any of them have the name Katie? And who was Katie dating last? Remember, 50 people kind of join in, or they all meet out there as well. So, but these boats wise, anybody that would be meeting up at El Camino and dividing up from there. So what I see is that there was boats already at El Camino, boats that got put in at the boat launch ramp, and then, driven over so that everybody's over there at El Camino, loading up, doing whatever, situating the boats. But the one kid, when he says the words, I had to wait for the next boat, that I didn't get on the boat that Nolan was on. I had to wait for the next boat. That means that tells me that the boat that he got on wasn't even there yet at the El Camino house, and that he was at the El Camino house. And so when I was going through all the social media, Nolan had gone on to his homecomings or proms with white girls. So did his other black friends, went with white girls. In fact, one of his good friends, I think he was dating for a very long time, this one girl. So I was just looking at over the course of time, when they want to talk about this whole race barrier here, you guys, all these kids during their high school careers, they were all hanging out with each other, and there was definitely, white people who could date black people. It's all around. So I saw, when you go back and you look at this, for Al Sharpton and Ben Crump to be doing what they're doing here, why would you be hanging out with a bunch of white people if they're such fucking pieces of shit? Maybe the kids are all fine, and maybe it's the parents. I don't know. But when you're having people always over your house, the white people are hosting the parties and they're having the people over their house. It's not like the black kids weren't invited. So, but yes, there could be underlining things, but I just think that that's like a slap in the face to Nolan right now until you find out what's going on and you get some of these answers. Because I want to tell you guys a little something. Now that I know that there's three boats, you would then 1000% want to look back at the Life 360 and see what it says in terms of, because at the end result of Nolan's phone being at the house where all the kids were, was that the end result at what time? Because usually Snapchat, you have to pay attention to, it says, I think, how long you've been somewhere or when the last time you checked in. But if you think about it, if people come in off the water at, let's say, just 6, 8, and 10, but then you look at Snapchat maps at 12 o'clock, and you're like, here, it's right here. It's at this house. Okay. Well, what people are responsible for the phone and wherever it was, and what group is it? What group of the boats, the people coming back? Who could it be? Meaning this, the first round of boats leaving that had the problem, if Nolan actually got his shirt off of that boat, if that's the boat that he was originally on, and that's the one that had problems, hey, anybody that has your stuff on here, get it off because we're getting this boat out of here. But this whole thing that he wanted to stay, I have to hear that all three of these boats left at the same time. Because him wanting to stay when the two other boats are there, that is so fucking normal. That's just like a big thing that I think everybody's missing here. They went out there in 3 boats. They didn't, it's not like they met up with people they didn't know and just, we just started chumming it up with people. These are 3 boats of all of their friends. Same thing like if you were going to prom. We all meet up, we all take pictures, and then some people have to take this car because we all can't fit in one big boat. Like, we don't have a yacht here. So we're taking multiple different means to get somewhere, to the dance. Okay. And then we're all going to meet up at the after party. Prom, we go to prom, and then we're all meeting up. So I think that you have to look at, I think this should be scaled back, and you have to look at what I'm talking about and what time did each one of those boats leave. And right now we only have GPS on one of them, and I think that that's crazy. It would make more sense to me now when one of the kids is like, where's Nolan, right? When they're all getting back, because they have multiple boats, and well, when's the last time you saw him? And then when you're over here hanging out and one of the boats left and you're not seeing Nolan, he got on that boat to leave. Like, that's why what I think is interesting is, out of all of these people, none of these people can say that they physically saw, like, screw the girl. I even think that the girl could have been potentially on one of these boats. But that's why it was like he wanted to stay back and talk to the girl. Well, how do we know if the girl wasn't on one of the Pitalo boats? How do we know that? Everyone's over here talking about that she was on her dad's boat. Remember, if you go and you read some of these social medias back and forth, because like the people were getting messages and then some of the parents were writing back, some of the friends were writing back to people that were randomly writing them on social media. If you go back to some of that stuff, I think it's interesting when you're talking about the reason that Katie was safe is because a brother or a sister or a cousin or somebody went out and got her and brought her back. So I would love to hear more about that. Never once did this woman who was speaking for Katie on Katie's behalf as like a family member, did she ever talk about anybody's dad, her dad. So I think that that's just totally gone on some whack ass, like wild shit. So I can't believe that the people are out there pushing a narrative and not saying to themselves, wait, there's 3 boats that went out there. 3 boats. And the one boat had to untie from the other boats. Okay? When that boat was leaving. What are those other boats doing? It would be perfectly normal for Nolan to stay if the 2 other boats are still there. Why would he leave too? I think the media has done an awful fucking job, per usual. Added James, get in here. Let me look at my phone for the names I need. There's Eric. Okay. Evan, Wyatt. Eli. Braden. Let's see. About some of these girls. Josie. What about Ava? What about another Ava? Katie M. See. What about some of these girls named? Yeah. Josie and Nolan Wells went to, in 2024, in September, they went to homecoming together. Nolan went with Josie. Javon and his girlfriend went together, and those two were like palling it up at that dance, but everybody went to the houses that were on the lake to take all the pictures. Javon's girlfriend, or I don't know, maybe she's an ex, but she basically removed herself, I think, from social media so that you couldn't tag her. Let's see. Devin. How about Devin? Add his name. So I went and looked at all the past families and who would all go to like Horn Island all the time, seeing what people's families' boats look like. It's all right there. What about Camden, Abby? What about Andrew? Zane. What about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, we got to put Bart over here. Just for numbers purposes, we're at 15. Katie. Katie is Warren's, their siblings. Katie Hudson Seymour, I believe. I mean, that's his mom, rather. But he has a sister. And I think her name's Ava. And if I remember correctly, there's like somebody was recording something and put it out there about like they were talking about like that night. Teresa did a pretty decent video last night. How about Jack King? Anybody heard that name ever? So 20 to 30 people, guys. Where's all the girls? Where's all the girls? I personally believe that the first boat that left has absolutely nothing to do with this. And the way that they were doing things, if you got 2 other boats there. So I can't wait for part 2 because we got to hear about how all these boats left. It would make no sense because like someone has to have a brain. Like I told you guys, these people are boaters. It's like the same thing with your life vests. Like, hey, we have to have enough life vests on here for how many people. You're telling me that they didn't realize if we're going out there with X number of people, we have these boats. Then Mississippi is loose. There are no boat departure structure. What are you talking about? Loose. No. I'm not overestimating anybody. I'm saying that you can't be talking about this one boat. This one boat doesn't mean anything when you don't have the other boats. All of these people met up and went out there. It wasn't like everybody was in their own car and then Nolan's car is left behind and he was supposed to come back in his own vehicle. It makes no sense that nobody is acting like they could see him after 4:30 or 4 or 3:30 or 3. Nobody wants to say a word like that they saw him after that point. Why? So the people that would be lying, if you want to talk about liars, it would not be the people that left in the boat. It would be everybody after that. So you want to talk about, you want to lay down some facts here? It's the people that would be after the people that left in the boat. Because you didn't leave him. The people that left on that boat did not leave him there. When you actually break it down and you look at this and you're like, where are the adults in this group? I don't know. These people are 18. I don't know. So, and then you want to talk about this little age gap. 18 and 19-year-olds. And then you have 23 and what? 22, 23, 24, 25. And then you have what? 30? I mean, what are we dealing with here? Yeah, I'm fucking born and raised here. Okay, well, I don't know why you're getting rowdy. Christopher, have a good day. All I know is the first people that left on that boat, they're the least of anybody's worries. There was still 2 boats unless we get the rest of the interview. And he's like, oh, when the one boat started to have problems, all of us left. All of us were like, let's go. How about this? What was the original plan? Let's go with this. We're going out to Horn Island. How long do you guys normally go out there? When you go out there, how long do you stay? Like, and I get it. These people are younger. They're not. But even when I was a freshman in college, like we still had like. I mean, when I was a freshman in college and sophomore in college, I knew my plan of how I was getting somewhere and how I was getting home. So let's do this very simple hypothetical. If the 2 other boats stay, then what Katie is saying can be true. And if the 2 other boats stay, and if it's true that Nolan had his shirt on, then he would have had to have gotten that from the boat that when you're talking about putting your stuff on a boat and keeping it there to keep it from getting wet. Also, if there's just no cell phone service, but again, I see these kids with their phones out and they're driving and they're posting on social media maybe after the fact, but he could have very easily taken that stuff and put it onto another boat. And going off of the Snapchat maps is you're not going to be able to prove what boat had anything until you go get the GPSs of the other boats to see what's up. Because he could have stayed out there longer with other people. And then Katie saying, well, I saw him go off and go off where? Like, aren't you guys all hanging out together? These boats are all tied up. We were hanging out on the shore. We were hanging out. But it's really weird that everything is happening at the same time. That Nolan is not seen after basically this distress call. And if my friends were going to be coming in with me and they had a big enough boat that could tow me, why would I need a call for a tow? It's because people are staying. And that's why they're not going to tow me. So call, get a tow, because we're staying. Otherwise, if all these boats are leaving, then why wouldn't the bigger boat do it? Tow it. I wouldn't tow a boat because I'd be like, I'm staying out here. Here, I'll call and get you a tow. I just cannot believe that nobody is not talking about these other boats. If they all go and meet up at a house afterwards, and that's where the Snapchat's at midnight, dude, that could be any one of that could be any one of them. But for there not to be a sighting of Nolan after 3:30 or 4, that time frame, if that's true, then right now I question if people are lying for people. That's all. Well, from the sounds of it, they were at Warren's, Ava's. Yeah. And from the sounds of it, they have boats there. So why is he acting like he doesn't have a boat? This makes sense. Did you guys see what Plunder put out? Did you guys see that stuff? The radio traffic? It's pretty interesting. It just makes more, there's more clarity here knowing that there was all these votes together, and until we find out that all the votes left at the same time, and if they did not, holy shit, then everything should change for people's brains, because no one wasn't left. And nobody has come forward and said, oh my God, it was so choppy out there that day. Or, oh my God, this is like, I was over in that area and, you know, I'm curious. What's up, T? How you been? Here, I'm going to play you guys something then if you haven't heard it. Just a piece of from Plunder. She's like, I've been working my ass off to get these things from people. Here it is.
Public records request and going through dispatch audio.
7-0.
True crime audio.
Okay, 4th of July, 2026 at 11:45 p.m. Reference to a missing persons report from the east side. Deputies respond to missing persons report heard on Jackson MS Law Dispatch group calls. And you see right here, it says reference, it says El Camino Road. So what that tells me is that whoever made this call was calling from El Camino Road to call in this missing persons about Nolan. El Camino. So that's at the private dock. That's at the house. That's where everybody was supposed to go back to. That house does not have like a pool or anything like that. That house has like I mean, it's nice, but that's where the call was. And so I just think that these Warren's house? No, Warren's not on El Camino. El Camino is here. El Camino is the grandparents, the Pitalo's house that's on the water. That's where they all met to go out there. So
Camino Road, reference to a missing persons report from the east side.
That's what we have for now. There's conjecture, theories, wild accusations all over.
There's no way that address gets thrown out there if that's where the person was calling from. So that's the Pitalo. Pitalo. And this is where I've been saying we need to, I have it as Trent and Eli Jax Pitalo were close with Katie. She's the only one that I could find in the group of friends on social media in terms of like your Facebook / Instagram, probably friends with the Pitalos. And it's the 23-year-olds. Jax and Trent are 23. Nolan is 18.
The place. I just want to get to the truth of what actually happened. So we're going to listen to July 4th, July 5th, and July 6th audio. And
the next one
voters.
is
Can you respond to Pine Drive? Pine Drive, maybe the Inner Harbor Park. Those people from the Signal 80 from earlier tonight are now harassing other people at this area.
okay. So then this is, and I looked at this address or houses in the area, Pine Drive here. Both people from the Signal 80 from earlier tonight are now harassing other people at this area. I think a lot of stuff broke out over there. Like people like, where's my son? Where's his key? Like all that type of stuff because they're going around. The Pitalos own a bunch of different houses. So.
2-4. 36. They're actually going to be at Dan Carson Avenue. 2-4. Yeah, PD, what exactly is going on with this call? The people from the Signal 80 from earlier tonight are harassing these people on the boat. They believe that they have connection to this missing juvenile.
The people from the Signal 80 from earlier tonight are harassing. You heard the word boat, right?
Harassing these people on the boat. They believe that they have connection to this missing juvenile.
The people are harassing boaters.
So I was paying attention to all these videos and I was scouring the Pitalos, the grandmother, Darlene, who I think she's just a gem. They travel a lot and I was looking at all their different stuff and those boys totally take out their grandparents' boats all the time. Like all the time.
Of course, I will always tell you what's speculation and what's truth. Let's get to this huge timeline. Okay, spent the night over at his friend's house. This will become important. This is this other location where his car, I believe, was parked and later retrieved. Now, Saturday, July 4th, his parents, his mom called it his last hurrah. Nolan goes missing. He went on this boating trip with his friends. I'm sure they probably did this often. July 4th, that Saturday.
Can you all please count?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Sure, but I do want to know what time they planned on leaving. Some people literally, I've learned so much about Horn Island. Some people literally spend the night out there. So I'm not sure they were planning on doing that, but something went wrong with the boat.
We're thinking, can you all please count?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody talks away.
But Nolan was last seen that Saturday around 3 p.m. That's the last time anyone saw him, as far as we know, in terms of who's come out.
Okay, that's a wild time to say, but anyways.
Publicly and said anything around 3 p.m. Now at 4:30, that's when trouble was happening. Ashley Cole, she's a judge. Her stepson, Warren, he was one of the guys on the boat and he was interviewed, she said, by the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. He cooperated fully. He's one of the one who said one of the group, okay, we last saw Nolan around 3 p.m. on July 4th. Now this group that Nolan came in with, they left around 4:30, 4:31 to be specific, now that we're getting this info from the Mississippi.
Okay. So, and what I just want to add here is the group that he came in on and in with, you guys, 3 boats at least. I think there was 5. I believe that there's no doubt I can prove 4, but he gives us 3. Warren. Okay. And I'm just telling you, there's just, from what the other kid said, there has to be another boat There has to be one more boat.
The Department of Marine Resources, the people I sent a $50 check to and spent 1:31 p.m. It eventually returned to G2 saying he wanted to stay behind and talk with this girl. So according to the GPS data, the boat left Horn Island at 4:31 p.m. It eventually returned to its original departure.
That's the line.
Dock up there on El Camino Real Road. We even have notes about the speed increased to 34 knots, and I think they used sea tow in order to give them a tow. So,
okay, do you see this then? How it goes in first, gets people off, and then it comes back to go to the marina, or not the marina, but the first boat launch. And now this is this specific boat. You guys, there's still 2 other boats. That one kid put in 2 boats himself. So my thing here is, Wyatt, your other boat's still out there, right? Wyatt has supposedly 2 boats out there. The 18-footer and the 22-footer.
Oh, 4:31, this vessel departed the west tip of Horn Island. It was towed approximately 2.75 miles before normal operation resumed. So I want to see this on my own. I've just seen screenshots. I want the actual PDF. I want to be able to give it to you today. Real Road, after being towed for 2.7 miles due to it taking on water. At 5:52 p.m., the vessel was tracked heading east into Fort Bayou. It traveled into Fort Bayou around 5:52 p.m. before it returned to the dock at 6:06 p.m. Later that evening, the boat went to Fort Bayou.
And now the rumor of that was that it was so crowded that we just went back because we were idling, and it was crowded because of 4th of July. You could have also just pulled up, let some people off over there, let one person off. But
boat launch at 7:19 p.m. And then I guess it was, tracked or trailed or towed, when you tow it with a car back to the owner, whoever the owner is.
So then I thought about it, which could be this. The reason that they actually didn't leave yet is because why would you want to get off the water and not watch I would love to know where the fireworks were being displayed. If you had to wait around for the rest of the people to come in off of other boats, so from 6:09, the reason that you're waiting around until 7:19 is to start transporting people to go back over where the launch is, because I don't know, I would just be thinking that you'd be parking your cars on El Camino. That's where you would go for anybody that's not putting in a boat. But this is just one boat's GPS. We need the other boat's GPSs. And I just cannot believe that that has not been out. They did not go get it. Those are the most important ones. For them to say that nobody saw him after this time, prove that those boats left at the same time. Prove that all of those people left at the same time. If you can't do that, I call bullshit.
Okay, so that's what we have as facts in terms of the GPS coordinates. And I've even been asking, all sorts of questions because I see all this conjecture, speculation. Nothing's wrong with asking questions. It's just I have a problem when people start presenting all these wild theories and speculation as if it's some kind of fact. People have a lot of, if this is the same friend, don't worry about it, like nearly so
audio
impacted. And they spoke with CNN about Nolan's phone being found, quote, she says, where a lot of people were at. Take a look.
Miss Christine, how are you and your family holding up?
A lot of
did not involve Nolan. He said it was actually him yelling in the video and that you and a family member were holding him back because he'd been in a fight. Is that accurate?
Dispute over car keys. Nolan's mom's friend or someone else. What plunder? She put this out 5 days ago. 11:50 p.m. Domestic dispute. Only 40 minutes after Nolan's mom got 11:07 p.m. call, and she's pulling that from the audio.
Yes, ma'am. We were common tracing down,
in that video where he said, "Give me my effing phone back," it sounds like him. So I'm pretty sure that he was right on that. But
Javon, I'm so sorry to think about what you must be going through and thinking about a huge kind. And you say you were the person who actually went and retrieved that phone for the family.
That is correct. Christine called me and told me, "Hey, where are the boys? Nolan hasn't been heard from since such and such time. Where are your boys?" I said, "Well, Javon is with his girlfriend, and I just spoke with Jalen, and they are headed to downtown," which I was literally getting ready to get in the shower to go downtown as well. She said, "Well, Nolan hasn't been." So I instantly called with Christine on the phone, Javon. Javon said no, he hadn't seen Nolan since early on the island. And he was like, "What? Are y'all serious?" And we was like, "Yes." And so Christine intervened in the conversation, said, "Nolan has not been heard from since."
I think that's interesting. I think that's interesting for me.
He left the island. So Javon was like, "Well, that's when I seen it. I haven't seen it since then." Again, everybody goes their separate ways. So I then hang up from Javon because
everybody goes their separate ways. What? Well, I'd be like, "No, I haven't. Let me call him." You know what I mean? What are you talking about? You haven't seen him. Well, let me call him. Let me hit him up. Let me take a look at my snaps. Let me take a look at my map. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Obviously, there's nothing he can say to tell me anything. So then
obviously there's nothing that he could say to tell me anything. I disagree. I totally disagree with that. I'm sorry, but like, you're friends with all those other kids. You're friends with all these kids. Let me call around. Let me call around.
I call him. Jalen needs to tell me anything. So then Jalen, I call him. Jalen did not answer the phone. Christine again is on the phone. Jalen did not answer the phone. LeBaron, I called. After he didn't answer the phone, I called LeBaron, which is their other friend, LeBaron Broomfield. He answered. He said, "Jalen is in the gas station. Hold on." So he said, "Hey, Jalen, Mom on the phone." So he was like, Jalen, like, "What's up, Mom? What's going on?" I was like, "Hey, have y'all heard from Nolan?" They said, "No, we have not heard from Nolan."
But where was the phone?
So I was like, "Well, okay." So that's when we started tracking the phone. Well, for Christine, it said one place, but for them on Snapchat, it showed another place. So that's the place we went to. And it showed that everybody that was in the house, it was like a lot of people there. Like I'm not familiar with all the kids. I only know like one or two there, but it showed that the phone was at what a lot of people were at. So that's how we knew where to go to. We went there. They were all there. They were sitting there, lights off, watching TV.
Did they immediately give you the phone? Because knowing that phone was there.
It took about 15. They did. They gave me the phone, but it took about 15 minutes to get the phone. Because I even asked, I'm like, "Did y'all have to walk back to Horn Island to get the phone? Or like, where's the phone?" Because it's
walk back to Horn Island. Did y'all have to walk back to Horn Island? Well, you can't walk to Horn Island. But I get what she's saying. Like,
took so long when they said it was when Wyatt told me it was in his truck. It took him so long to get the phone back to me.
Christine,
so when they brought the phone back.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tashima. I want to hear.
Okay, perfect. Wyatt has now you can add this to your little timeline. Wyatt is the one that said it was in his truck, and she's saying to Wyatt. Okay. Now remember, Wyatt had two boats there. Two boats. The 18-footer and the 22-footer. His boats, though, came on multiple rigs. Okay. Remember from now Warner's interview, he says, "A boat got hooked up to my truck. A boat is hooked up to my truck." And so what you need to ask, I hope here in the second part of the interview, he asks, well, going to who did Nolan drive with going to the docks? Was he in your truck? Where was he at? Whose vehicle was he in? Because is there a potentiality that he would have left his phone and wallet locked in someone's vehicle and like glove compartments and stuff like that? Again, I don't know.
Hear that?
When they brought the phone, after I said something about it, he was like, well, she's going to get it. I was like, who's going to get it? He's like, the girl's going to get the phone.
Okay, so Tashima, she liked giving details. I get it. And they're just like, where was
the details matter.
Phone? And I know a lot of people are being vague and not wanting to say names, I hear contacted, but then, they would have been told what, not to go out there. And I even Googled, like, if someone's missing in the middle of the night, do they send a boat out? The last time someone saw him and where? And then she responded, it's 2:07 a.m. by now. She's like, I can't confirm he's made it back to the land because everyone I spoke with, I guess she means, has said he was last seen on the island with a girl named Katie. Another wrote on Facebook, share all the details you know.
Okay. Everyone said the last time I saw him, he was talking to a girl named Katie. Everybody knows who Katie knows. And why aren't they saying that Katie knows the people that we went to the house on El Camino? Why did that have to be completely left out of everything? Because it matters. Who's Katie's ex-boyfriend? Does Katie have an ex-boyfriend?
He left the island with him or no? Did they recall him?
Nolan's 18. She's what, 22? She graduated in 2022. She's 22 years old. She was a year younger than Trent. Her and Trent are friends. Are they more than friends? She's 22. Nolan's 18.
Him being in the boat, very important to be 100% transparent. Christine wrote his last whereabouts listed above the photo. He did not get on the boat with them. And so someone's like, look, you're saying different things in different responses. It's kind of confusing, just FYI. Christine probably didn't.
36, they're actually going to be at Dan Carson Avenue. Yeah, BD, what exactly is going on with this call? The people from the Signal 80 from earlier tonight are harassing these people on the boat. They believe that they have connection to this missing juvenile. Got it.
Now, this boat brouhaha as
connection to this missing juvenile. People on the boat, they believe that they have Signal 80 from earlier tonight are harassing these people on the boat. They believe that they have connection to this missing juvenile.
Okay, so think about this. The only way that you can still be on a boat at this hour, someone's harassing you if you're like on a boat, is that you come down to like the docks and we're like all docked up and we're on our boats and we're just chilling. Who had been on their boats chilling at the docks? The only thing that I can think of is if you went to El Camino, right? That's where the missing persons initial call came out of because that's the address that they had as El Camino. And who made that call? That's where the Pitalo boys and their friends, like that's the private dock that everybody went to. What's this all about? I know that he's not a juvenile either. And then I guess there was a juvenile person missing. And so they had to explain people to stop saying like certain things.
Now, this boat brouhaha, as I'm calling it, it's still Sunday right now, July 5th, 2:45 a.m. or later. Times could be wonky. It might be later. But is this where that rumor of the 3 a.m. boat cleaning emerged? Now, if you've been all over Facebook, you know there's tons of rumors. One of the rumors was that someone was cleaning a boat at 3 a.m. That's why I found this disturbance interesting. It says people harassing boaters at General Pershing Avenue. This disturbance, it's near Inner Harbor Park, and they give Pine Drive. I won't tell the address. It says those people from the Signal 80, they're also going to be at this Pershing Avenue, Ocean Springs address. Those people from the Signal 80 from earlier tonight are now harassing other people at this area. The deputy is like, what's exactly going on with this call? You know, because it's like, wait a minute.
So what I feel like's happening here is somebody's going around and trying to find their kid, right? Which would make sense. Or even possibly friends are going around like, hey, where's so-and-so? Like, what do you mean? Like, where is he? Like, hey, it came, like, let's all ask ourselves something. What would you do if you were a parent or a sibling or an aunt, uncle, whatever, and you get back the phone and what do you mean? Like, aren't you going to be asking questions like, how do you have his phone? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, so was this something where it was like when they came over, everybody just shut the doors and were like, nobody talked to anybody, you know? And I don't know. But I know that I wouldn't have gotten the phone back, went through it immediately and saw that there was, I don't know. I would have so many questions as to why do you have my kid's phone? I don't understand. Why do you have his phone?
What's happening here? The people from the Signal 80 from earlier tonight are harassing these people on the boat. They believe they have connections to this missing juvenile. Now, previously, I didn't know whether this was Nolan's case. I'm more certain now this is related, I believe. This part, I don't know who was harassing whom, but it's like 2:54 in the morning or later. Nolan still hasn't turned up. I don't know if his loved ones were going to different locations of his friends, you know, and it's like all these fireworks going off. You can imagine it's July 4th. People are probably trying to turn up.
Can you respond to Pine Drive? Pine Drive is going to be the In-Out Harbor Park. Those people from the Signal 80 from earlier tonight are now harassing other people at this area. Just one. It's 36. They're actually going to be at 10 Pershing Avenue. 403 General Pershing. And PD, what exactly is going on with this?
So all you should do is just go ahead and pump in some of those street names and see who lives on those streets. But it all starts for me at the El Camino address. That's where the call was placed to the U.S. Coast Guard. That's what it looks like to me. That's how they have that address.
So, the people from the Signal 80 from earlier tonight are harassing these people on the boat. They believe that they have connection to this missing juvenile. Got it.
So are the parents going around to different locations? Did they go? I mean, this is not the address of where the boat was docked. This is not the El Camino Real location. Again, take it with a grain of salt, but you'll hear it again. You've heard it on the dispatch like I've heard it. I believe it's related. That Signal 80 means a missing person. In Mississippi.
So think about this. What if you walked in the backyard and you looked at the docks, you looked at the dry docks, and you're noticing that like maybe there's just one boat there and there was like 5 before. Like, hey, where are all these boats at that where everybody was here? Like, what the fuck? You know, where are they? Yeah.
It means a missing or runaway person. So it's related to a missing persons case. There will be another missing juvenile going on at the same time case. So I had a hard time trying to distinguish the two, but I believe this is related to Nolan's case. But what's interesting to me is if it is indeed Nolan's loved ones, friends, family, whomever looking for him, it's like they are immediately cast as they are harassing these people on the boat. They believe that they have connections to this missing juvenile. Okay, what exactly is going on? Did Nolan's family, his people, his kin, whatever, did they show up at a location and did they... At this point, 3:25 a.m., the missing person has not been recovered. The fact that he was only last seen on Horn Island had to eventually concern people. Copy, PD, call county dispatch. Can we have further information that DMR, Department of Marine Resources, and the Coast Guard are actively searching? That's the question asked. It comes across crime radar. They
10-4.
They're saying
also
talking about Nolan's case here or not.
This record, he just arrived as well.
He just arrived as well. Perhaps not talking about Nolan's case here. Sorry, noted that in the CAD. He's been out here since he says about 2:30.
Just notate that in the CAD. Also, he's been out here since, he says about 02:30 is when he initially called him. I know we got the call a little later, but just notate that as well.
10-4.
There's the water. So I know a lot of times they wait till daybreak.
151 Jackson.
Oscar, my God.
Show myself and 50 on the water.
Crime audio.
So they get out to the water on 7-5 at 7 a.m.
10-4.
149. Go ahead.
Hey, just make sure y'all update with dispatch on the boat and who's in the boat with you there.
Well, they waited, I guess, till daybreak to say, okay, just make sure Nolan's mom is posting to Facebook. There are no updates. Nolan is still missing. Please.
The boat that he was supposedly on when he arrived, they left about 3. So you may want to check that photo.
So this is how this comes out.
Who's he trying to call? To the mother?
Units. I just sent y'all a picture that was apparently sent to the mother. He was seen around that location by somebody that knows him about 4:30. The boat that he was supposedly on when he arrived, they left about 3. So you may want to check that photo.
He was seen around that location by somebody that knows him about 4:30. So who saw Nolan at 4 to him as well? So I wonder who that was who spoke to him. And people have been talking. Keypad goes, okay, it could have very well been an accident. Okay, 9:46 a.m. Nolan's mom, desperate, of course, posting on Facebook. Nolan has not, capital, been found. His father and I have his cell phone. So for friends who are seeing his location, it's because we have it. So I guess people thought, oh, I see he's back at home.
Katie has contacted me. Katie has contacted me. We are currently at Horn Island. I thought you don't have service out there to like type this up, put this out there. So I question that. If you're at Horn Island, how are you able to upload this at 9:46 a.m. without having cell service? We are looking for any information other than what we already know. Please PM me if you have additional information.
Now, yay, maybe that's where it came from. His mom said Katie has contact.
So Katie contacted her between, let's just go ahead and say, midnight and 9:46 in the morning.
See, out here on the island,
So by 11.
what is it?
Airline.
Is there a OIC out here on the island that we need to speak with?
Plunder. True crime.
Got the park rangers out on the island. CMR's out here and we're out here. I've already let her know you're going to be flying. So, roger that. We're approaching the eastern tip at this point. Is there a channel that we could go through that we don't interfere with primary traffic?
Plunder. True crime. Is there an OIC? So they got the park rangers out on the eastern tip of the island at that point. They're here where he went missing, all the law enforcement boats.
Keep in mind, there are boats tied up all up and around this area where he was missing when you come through. Copy that.
It's like, yeah, 17, is there anywhere we need to start? It's like, last thing, he was on the north side of the West End.
Okay, now in Warner, in his interview, he said that the deepest part for us was like up to our necks and like then like to where like our knees were. That's like where like the front of the boat was. So like if you were going off the back, it would be like, he said shoulder length. Wow.
And that's the last time.
I would love to know how the body came to be in the same spot.
Anybody's following him that we know of, just keep in mind there are boats tied up all around this area where he was missing when you come through. Copy that. So the Air One is like, look, if you find anything of interest, just let me know so we can direct anything on the ground. It's another thing. I could not understand what he was saying.
17 to Air One. If you find anything of interest, just let us know so we can direct anything on the ground.
True crime audio.
Yeah, well. Gotcha, inside. That's all.
Is he saying, come back, that information, Jackson, can we have patrol units, particularly West Side?
Okay. So you want me to tell you, or you want to tell me that this is all happening at the same time? When they see this video, oh, that altercation had to be, that was another dude, right? And out of all the dudes, it's a black guy, right? Black kid. And so as that's happening, that video goes around and is panning at 2:33. And there's people look like they were on the island, but there's also people on the boat. And then within 25 minutes, the last sighting of Nolan, and he would have been potentially, let's just say potentially, over on the island. This is the last, like, this is where I saw him talking to that girl the last time, like, I saw him. And they're saying we need to get this other kid. One of the parents were like, get him off the island. They didn't like how he was like freaking out. And it's like, what was he freaking out over? And if it was like, get him off the island, is that did he go in on the boat that was sinking?
Lake Mars and areas, just go back and check the boat launches. So they're like, kind of go back up to the mainland, the boat launches, see if maybe he was taken back, maybe dropped off in that area. Did he arrive through Lake Mars and that area is looking for him?
Kind of ride through Lake Mars and other areas looking for him. From Lake Mars and areas like that, just go check boat launches, see if maybe he was taken back and dropped off in that area.
Yeah.
We have the patrol units, particularly West Side, like Lake Mars and areas like that. Just go check boat launches, see if maybe he was taken back and dropped off in that area. Kind of ride through Lake Mars and other areas looking for him.
Plunder, true crime audio.
Where did that come from? Why they would think to go over there?
Just checking that as there's little paths and stuff around there. Maybe check if you don't mind.
It's like they saw him drown if it were accidental.
Check the point areas, all the boat dock areas. Around the point area, maybe on the rocks, near the grass, anything.
Right there.
The rocks, near the grass.
17 Jax, and also, I don't know if Pascal's been made aware. Can you have them maybe check around the point?
They were advised at the ADM that I'll have them check the boat rooms as well.
Everything.
121.
Just 121.
Can you go look around the point area, maybe on the rocks, near the grass, anything that you can find over there, and look for signal 80 subject from the Horn Island. They are not finding anything on the island. They want to check the point areas, all the boat dock areas.
Mark it.
So I said a light-skinned black male, last seen wearing black shorts.
Black shorts. Black shorts. Where does that come from? Black shorts. Who said that he had black shorts on? Isn't that interesting?
And everyone, you seen anything worth us checking? That's what I was just fixing to say. We're going to actually move on down the island because everything is clear from where we've been.
Now that's What do you mean? Everything is clear. So they were just checking the island. They weren't in the water, or like what were they doing? How were they doing this?
Anything on the island. Take it back to seen wearing black shorts. We know his shorts weren't black. Yeah, I guess he could be considered light skinned, but negative on down the aisle. How you see
light skin, black male, last seen wearing black swimming shorts. Terrible.
So Christine at 12:10 p.m. she wrote, "Please send me any information if you've seen him." And Air One was calling patrol. And by this point, he's like, "I'm through with the island. Is there anything else you want us to look at?" Now I'm not.
Okay, so now think about this. If the people that go in first are the younger group of kids, okay, and the boats that stay back are the older kids, you know, and if Katie is to say, I only talked to him for like, it was like a hey and bye situation. We were just, you know, BSing whatever, like, and then he said that he was like, you know, leaving and he was going to be getting on, you know, so I saw him either walking away or getting on the boat, whatever technically she said. I know that it's evolved, but that's, I just think it's important to understand that Katie McCormick is not some independent, doesn't know any of these guys, just met them that day. And that's what should change people's opinions, I think, a little bit here, is that Katie McCormick knows the main people of where everybody met up at their house, their grandparents' house. And if Katie wasn't, so if Katie needed to have a ride or somebody come get her to leave, why? How did Katie get out there? Why would Katie need to come and be picked up from Horn Island to go back? Like, do you guys see all these bizarre things that are occurring?
Sure if Air One is related to Cajun Navy or not. I know Cajun Navy was up in the air for a couple of hours. Still asking for videos or photos from yesterday, July 4th, from Horn/Ship Island that may have Nolan in them. So I was.
Why are they adding Ship Island now? Nolan didn't go there.
It's like, okay, maybe she does have info that he was on Ship Island, or she's just saying the possibility that he was there. I still don't know how people traverse. Is it only jet ski, or how do they get over to
Air One.
Air One's 10-8 back to the island.
2:15 p.m. Air One, the pilot says something about back to the island or something. So maybe he's going back to the island.
The Coast Guard is asking which frequency you're on because they would like to communicate with you.
We're just monitoring, staying on KPQLs. It would be 118.57.
118.457, correct?
118.57.
10-4.
2:44 p.m. The Coast Guard is asking what frequency they're on. They want to communicate with them.
10-4. In or negative of everything. Just covering all of our bases. We didn't see anything that needed to be checked. 10-4.
Negative on everything, just covering all our bases. We didn't see anything that needed to be checked. So Facebook with pleadings to find her sweet note.
4:38. My husband and I can't thank you all enough for the prayers and for those who have provided information. Once again, I ask that you only private message me if you have information. Time frame 4:30 p.m. and after. Wow. 4:30 p.m. I wonder what reliable information came in about the 4:30 time. Thank you. You're welcome. Again, Tara, welcome. Tara, woo woo. New member, Silent. Where you been, Silent G? Where you been? 29 months. It's about time you pop your head back in here. You guys, 4:30. So 4:30 on this day, which is the 5th. Okay, so we got 4:30. Now that time frame to me seems like it could potentially come in from the fact that you have the 4:31 tow begins, and we were getting towed. He was not on the boat, and we had just what? We had just seen him. We had just, what does getting towed on the boat have anything to do with?
Oh no, I just don't want to cry. She was cruising to evening. It's heard on this Escambia County area marine.
This is our Nolan Wells, aka No. It's at 6:54. One of the sweetest and kindest souls you could ever meet. He went missing on Horn Island on July 4th. He went missing on Horn Island. Versus at. I'm looking for any pics or videos that was taken on the northwest tip. Please help us find our sunshine.
Broadcast. Some broadcast for 18-year-old male. It's saying black male. They still say black bathing suit. West side of the Horn Island. Mary
is of the 2 YouTubers that was on Horn Island yesterday.
Mariners were asked to keep a sharp lookout and report sightings on Channel 16. Now, the Jackers were asked to keep a sharp lookout and report sightings.
Here's better pics from July 4th. Now I have right here, this is Pitalo's right here in this left top picture. Eric is in the right top picture on the right-hand side. I believe is that Morgan? Seymour all the way to the left.
On Channel 16. Now, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office is updating people that night, 7:14 p.m., letting them know, look, we're still searching for him. All the same stuff. Let us know. Here's his photo. I cannot imagine the complete fear and despair. 7:44 p.m. This is Sunday night, basically. Christina's been up and she has began to shut down. She's like, she feels herself physically shutting down. Can you imagine? Friday night, your son has a sleepover. Okay, Saturday night, I think she must have been up for 24 straight hours, but I know she was probably not knowing what day it was. Saturday night, you're expecting to see, son arrived home or whatever, and how you really like, now I can really sleep. But then it turns into this, where is he? And then
guys, my husband and I are going to have to stop posting for a little bit. This is July 5th at 7:44. We've been for close to 48 hours now, and my body feels like it's shutting down. Please contact the Jackson County Sheriff's Department if you have any leads on his whereabouts. We need to know if he left the island and with who.
We move on to Monday, July 6th. Unfortunately, that's when Nolan was found, but recovered. 5:16 a.m., a deputy is heading out to, and he's like, yes, please. And the dispatcher's like, a new case number or what? And he's like, no, we'll just go with the same number.
Hey, Jason.
Ready.
I'm Tate, and I'll be en route to States, Lake Morris.
10-4, do you want us to open up the call from yesterday or open a new call for today?
Yes, please.
So a new case number for today?
We're just going to go with the same one.
10-4, thank you.
70 Fish, you want to swap over patrol one en route to Lake Marsh.
Oh.
Now, It says a United Cajun Navy aircraft took to the air just before 6 a.m. that Monday. Search boats deployed again. Last vessels leaving just before 8 a.m. Unfortunately, like 8:45 a.m., Sheriff Ledbetter confirmed authorities received a call reporting a body found at the northwestern tip of Horn Island. Nolan was discovered by a U.S. Park Service's ranger, so it's very close to, I guess, where he was last seen. That's another thing that maybe lends itself to him potentially accidentally drowning, but we have to get all the evidence. Okay, July 6, 2026. It is 9:30 a.m. You hear a deputy is en route to this area. I was thinking that's probably the death notification, the call. I wonder if it's the same deputy. You can hear him when he was searching for the little boy. And he was almost bragging like, oh, I found how many ever kids? That's my 5th kid I found or whatever, and all kids were returned home safely. And now he has to head out and tell this family, if this is indeed a death notification, he has to tell this beautiful family that their son is gone. So Noah's family was asked to come to this Lake Mars boat launch. That's where they were met by Sheriff Ledbetter and Coroner Bruce Lind. Just after 11, the family was taken to the coroner's office to identify Nolan. Just before 1 o'clock, Nolan's family confirmed his death on social media. His mother posted on Facebook confirming it. That was who they found.
Do you guys see how calm that water is? It's like not even moving.
Found on Horn Island, and his body was recovered close to where he was last seen. Now, according to United Cajun Navy, this is not the park ranger, but he said he saw, all these boats tied up, and he knew they were law enforcement boats, and somehow when he got down there, this Brian guy, he's United Cajun Navy Vice President Brian.
Okay. If Teresa, is it okay if I use your video for a second? Are you cool with that? Thanks, girly girl. And somebody's saying, is this white folk only chat? Are you fucking high? I know you're not high. Come on now. You must not know what truth and transparency is all about. Yeah. I specifically started a nonprofit organization for wrongfully accused and convicted African-American males. So that's wild. Let's see. Criminality. It's nice to have you back around, Making me write that big T again. Here we go. I want to use the right here. Yeah.
Something that I would really like your guys' help with, because I cannot get confirmation on much of any of it. Like I said, with the boat that we know that Nolan was on, we know that Warren, Wyatt, potentially Morgan, Eli, which is Jax. Eli is his real first name, but he goes by Jax. And then potentially Ike, which is Wyatt.
I love these boats, by the way. See, so you're under the impression that it's
brother,
that it's 4 boats. I even think there's a potentiality. We know more now, though. I know last night we were just ripping through stuff. You should come up here when we drop the link. You could share screen. What's up, Mari? I didn't even see you in here, girl. Now it's 5. Yes, see, this is what I was saying earlier. I was like, I know, I'm telling you, I can count at least And I want to know if all 5 were tied up. Okay.
And then there's a female.
And are you sure you're putting Katie and her father on a boat together? I don't know. Why do I feel like Katie went out there with Trent and Eli Jax?
That is also potentially on this boat, and I don't know who told his friend.
Here we go.
On social media, about where they were at in comparison to like Nolan's boat and the other kids that were on.
Okay, Lucas. Last time I spoke to him was when he said I have to leave, and it was probably like 2 or 2:30. But there was a huge group of people with several boats around for a. I can remember. I last saw him get on a white boat with a center console before I had left. So that's all the information I can provide before this guy had left. What boat was Lucas on? Matthew Lamp. Oh, wait. Actually, right there. Not there, not there, not there. Is it the same one?
At that time, the fight itself did not, however, involve Nolan.
I'm actually on the boat that you paused on. The guy I heard yelling is on our boat. He got in a fight and was pissed we wouldn't let him leave the boat. The video was taken at 4. Well, why is Facebook saying metadata saying 2:33? Fight was already over. There were so many people, and I was focused on the guy who started the fight with the guy on our boat, making sure he'd leave. So I cannot confirm nor deny if it was Nolan that was there or not at that time. The fight itself did not, however, involve Nolan himself.
So very confusing because they don't.
Where's the
Mine's with Trayston's.
Where's the girl
interview upcoming?
That talks about? I want the girls where she's talking about. I think you played it.
TMZ putting it out today. A little bit of a longer version.
4th boat trip to an isolated barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Trayston Shepard declined to speak with us on camera because he says he and his friends are getting threats.
We did no wrong here, and we don't understand how we're getting so much hate behind it. We all cared and loved Nolan, and nobody wanted to see Nolan die. Nobody wanted to see his life be taken so short.
Shepard addressed this viral video that investigators have been studying. Wells's parents worried it showed their son involved in a confrontation, but Shepard said that's him, not Wells.
That's the video I'm referring to. That's me yelling.
Shepard says he took a boat back from Horn Island in the late afternoon, but Wells stayed behind with a girl he had met.
Okay, right here. So this kid leaves. Shepard leaves. And so what boat was he on? Was he on the boat that broke down?
Met that day, and it was kind of one of those things. It did come off that day that he really did like her, but that was the only time they'd ever hung out was at Horn Island on July 4th.
Investigators believe Wells drowned and say there were no immediate signs of foul play. But there is growing frustration.
That just has to do with the fact that he was an 18-year-old filming the video. They know who the girl is. It happens at Horn all the time. These guys posting this shit on TikTok are all worthless blacks who want nothing but views.
What?
Nolan has basically lived at my house for the last 3 years. We would never do anything to harm him.
Oh, that's when he went nuts.
The person receiving it says, never said anything about y'all or anything, just reposted, wasn't even worrying about the racial stuff. It's all BS. You don't think, I know y'all have been close since little kids. And then Ike says, I
Oh, God.
think it's a low down. I don't know, it's such a weird thing, like Mr. Lowdown. Warren's mother, the woman you have been talking about on Facebook and posting pictures of our family. I'm here to tell you.
She said, pull up.
She said, pull up. Yeah, she did.
I'm here to tell you that we all, Nolan, and are all deeply distraught. Your information is not correct, and I ask you to please stop posting about Warren and our.
Here.
Okay, so this is Katie. This is the Katie that he apparently wanted to stay behind with, and
Gracie. Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Katie made it home because she was on another boat and with different people. I think she was 1000%. She was. But I think it was their group. Katie was safe because my brother and sister-in-law went and got her. Went and got her from where? Katie assumed the friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't have left him. Get on the boat. Do you think that there's at all? Do you think there's any chance it's possible that Katie's confusing that altercation, like get on the boat, like stay on the boat or whatever, like with any of this? Me and my family have called, and are sending up prayers. We have given all the answers we can give. Why doesn't anybody have any times? What boat were you on?
The big rumor is that the boat that last video, the second video that I showed you guys, where you can see like Nolan bending over, is supposedly on Katie's dad's boat, the Lil Daddy. So this is Gracie McCormick, which is her sister. I don't think it's. I heard somebody say that was her mom, but I'm almost 99% sure this is her sister. And it says Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Katie made it.
Yeah, because I think somebody was like, yo, why are you talking to my girl? Or like, maybe it was like an ex, but he still had feelings for her or something like that.
Home because.
And she's 22.
She was on another boat and with different people. Katie was safe because my.
That no one ever went.
Oh, here we go.
Like, let me call them and ask for it, or y'all go ahead without having it.
Don't know who's recording. So if you guys do, please feel free to tell me.
Okay, so where did you get this from? That's the question I tried to ask you last night, but I think I put in something else. DM, thanks, appreciate it. I got that. Yep, got that. Okay, let's listen to this. Let's listen to this right here.
Why does nothing ever want to work?
I feel you. I feel you, T.
On White, we got out to the island around like 10:30. Everybody was hanging out, having a good time. And then it came time to leave. And so Wyatt was like, Nolan, get on the boat. Like, come on, we're leaving. And Nolan was talking to that girl, Katie McCormick. And he was like, oh, I'm just going to go back. I don't want to go off. TikTok only lets you send 1 minute videos.
I know.
But he was like, oh, I'm just going to go back with Katie. We'll be right behind y'all. We were all going to the same house, the same place. He was like, I'll be right behind y'all.
See, there it is. I knew it. Fuck yes. We're all going to the same place. We'll be right behind y'all. Thank you. Katie was on one of the fucking boats that departed from the house El Camino. Katie is tight with these boys. Ooh, that's the piece I couldn't hear last night. And I wasn't gonna blow up chat D. I was like, I gotta go to bed. Right there. Thank you. So remember now, I believe that she was on the older person's boat, aka the boat that Warren went out on, right? If she was on the boat that Warren was on, because that's Bart, if Bart, or are you on the boat that Eli, Jax, and Trent?
Y'all go ahead without me. I'll see y'all at, like, I'm literally gonna be right behind y'all, whatever. So,
I just don't think that you would have that conversation like go on without me. We're like, it's not like go on without me. It's like we have all these boats here. I'm gonna ride on this boat. But they were like, no, come with us. I just feel like they didn't want him to stay with those people. They didn't want Nolan to stay if Nolan was trying to like holler at this girl and it was like, dude, it's too fresh of a breakup, or it's somebody else's girl. I don't know.
Wyatt and all them left because they were like, okay, he's just gonna go with Katie, whatever. Well, then everybody got back in and we were all at Ava's house and Wyatt was like,
right there.
Well, then everybody got back in and we were all at Ava's house and Wyatt was like,
okay, so there's a chance that you're either dealing with Ava, who's Warren's cousin, sister. So this girl who's speaking is on the boat that left.
where's Nolan? He was like, isn't he coming with Katie and them? And they were like, yeah. And Warren was like, let me call him and ask where he is. Or Warren was like, I have his phone. Like, somebody called Katie and asked where he is. And then they called Katie.
You don't even notice.
And that's when they found out that Nolan never went with her either. She said that Nolan never went with her. And so no one knows what happened. Like, literally no one knows what happened to him, and it's so fucking heartbreaking. It's sick that people are sitting there blaming that on Eric and all them, like his childhood best friends. Like, it's sick. And none of them would ever do that to him. And like, people are literally texting me, like threatening me and shit. It's like, I don't know, it's just so upsetting.
It's just so upsetting. Shut up.
All that coughing and stuff is from the video, not from us.
Wait, who says that at the end? Shut up. Who says that? What the fuck?
Over here, just an FYI, all that background noise. And she's the one that says we went to Ava's house.
We got out to the island around like 10:30. Everybody was hanging out, having a good time. And then it came time to leave. And so Wyatt was like, Nolan, get on the boat. Like, come on, we're leaving. And Nolan was talking to that girl, Katie McCormick. And he was like, oh, I'm just going to go back. I'm going to go off. TikTok only lets you send 1 minute videos.
I know. Yeah.
But he was like, oh, I'm just going to go back with Katie. We'll be right behind y'all. We were all going to the same house, the same place. He was like, I'll be right behind y'all.
Right there. We're all going to the same house, the same place. It's right there. It's right fucking there. It's right there. Holy shit. I'm sorry, but they've been talking to the wrong people. So then we have this list of holy shit. And I don't think it was like this thing, like, I'm going to go back with Katie. I would see him saying, like, I'm just going to ride back with them. But why, if they're leaving, like, right behind? I don't know. I just, Katie was going back to El Camino. Katie, in my opinion, got on a boat that left from El Camino to go out there. Woo-wee. Oh boy. Well, this is the thing is Wyatt had two boats. So Wyatt having his phone, well, what boat? You know what I mean? Wyatt had two boats out there. He had the 18-footer and he had the 22-footer. And then Bart had a 24-footer. And then I'm telling you, there's at least, I have it as two more boats. I know, I mean, the very, very least one more, but wow. Woo-wee. Not with Katie and her dad. I don't think that Katie was out there with her dad. Damn.
Y'all go ahead without me. I'll see y'all at, like, I'm literally gonna be right behind y'all, whatever. So, Wyatt and all them left because they were like, okay, he's just gonna go with Katie, whatever. Well, then everybody got back in and we were all at Ava's house.
We were all at Ava's house.
Rewind that a little bit again.
Yeah, because I think she's talking about way later.
Right there.
Well, then everybody got back in and we were all at Ava's house. And
yeah, that's very clearly Ava, not Evan.
So who the fuck is Ava?
Oh, yeah. I was like, fuck yeah, I know who Ava is.
Who the fuck is Ava?
Who the fuck is Ava? Put her on the boat with Bart.
What boat was she on?
Add her to the fucking list.
Add her to the list.
Yeah.
There's two Avas, guys. There's not just one, there's two. And this is the happy birthday to our beautiful Ava. And this is Katie Hudson Seymour. And that is the mother of Warren Hudson, who just did the interview. And so this is Warren's sister, if it is this Ava, or there is one other Ava that's in the group friends. But happy birthday to our beautiful Ava. I pray that today will be extra special because that is what you are to us. We love you so much and so proud of the beautiful woman you have grown to be. And yeah. So I don't know. What it seems like is this could be potentially a stepsister.
Crazy. Okay, so there's that. Once again, like I said, I have no idea the origin of this. I do not. You can take it, you can leave it, you can do whatever the hell you want with that information. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who's talking. I don't know.
Why do I feel like the girl who is talking is
recording? I don't know who's coughing, and then there's a cat meowing, and somebody.
Whose pussycat is that?
Yeah.
Whose pussycat?
Okay, so we have the first interview.
Miss Christine, how are you and your family holding up?
Here, give me my effing
15 minutes to get the phone because I even asked. I'm like,
here, do they believe this was just an unfortunate accident, tragedy, or that it's something more sinister?
Well, just to correct you.
Did they find those sunglasses? Anybody find those sunglasses?
there might have been a confrontation or something like that. You know,
I want to get along community.
So I seen Nolan. As soon as I seen Nolan, he's like, "Hey, bro, what's that?"
Okay, hang on.
That everyone at Horn Island, like that live on the coast, were there pretty much. Obviously, it was older people. There's a lot of people there, like honestly. But I seen Nolan whenever I had got out there around. I got out there around 11 o'clock. I had walked down to their boat. I had seen him, and it was like a whole bunch of people.
Okay, so his boat is not tied up. So his boat, whoever he's on a boat with, is not tied up. And he sounds like he's more east because he's like, I had to walk down, and we obviously know that they're at the tip end. So he's walking down.
Well, I didn't expect it. I had got out there around. I got out there around 11 o'clock. I had walked down to their boat. I had seen him, and it was like a whole bunch of people. I didn't expect it. So I seen Nolan. As soon as I seen Nolan, he's like, "Hey, bro, what you doing?" Like, "I love you, dog. I love you." And then we were just hanging out, chill.
I feel like Nolan was around all of those like 23-year-olds. Like he was around people that graduated. Like when he would have been in like 8th grade, these kids would have been seniors. Like that's the age gap we're talking about here. 18, 23, like 5 years.
Just having a good time. And then so around, I want to say around 3:40, 4 o'clock, altercation had happened between one of my other friends. I don't want to say his name, but he had got an altercation. So I went and checked on him for about 20 to 15 minutes. I came back, Nolan's boat and the people that he was with were gone. But
right there, Nolan's boat and the people that he was with were gone. Nolan was with 30 people. See, I was just talking about one boat. This isn't squaring for me. Okay. Nolan was there with 3 boats tied up together. And so since he didn't go out there with him, how do you know which boat he came in there on?
the thing about the 2 boats that I said, there were 2 boats tied up. So therefore, I didn't know which boat Nolan exactly was.
There you go. See? And he's saying that there's 2 boats tied up, which makes sense now. Boom. That means the boat that already left was gone. Holy shit. Wait a second. Oh my God, hold on.
Nolan's boat and the people that he was with were gone. But the thing about the 2 boats that I said, there were 2 boats tied up. So therefore, I didn't know which boat Nolan exactly was on because they were both tied up.
Javon, have you seen the video that's been going around social media where people think
that's crucial because we need to know, did you ever see 3 boats tied up? Because if he never saw 3 boats tied up and he saw Nolan after, meaning he sees Nolan and there was only 2 boats tied up, that means that boat left. And that's huge. And that's what I've been saying is that boat's gone. So he needs to recollect and think, when you walk down, did you ever see 3 boats tied up? Poof.
think that they're hearing an argument between people and they're wondering whether or not Nolan is one of the people in that argument. You just described that you had another friend, not Nolan, another friend who was in and got into a dispute. Is that video the other argument that you were talking about?
Yes.
So
now I know why this got taken down. Holy shit. Now I know why this was taken down. Oh my God. TMZ was asked to take down this video. Oh my God. It's because of that.
But is that Nolan in the video?
I can't tell. It's too far away. But in that video, I feel like the voices are too clear. Like from the side, it's too clear for it to be that far away for it to be Nolan arguing. And then also that altercation, it sounds just like my other friend that got into the altercation on the boat. And they were trying to, like, as he was in that altercation, I was calming him down. They were trying to get him out off the island. They were trying to get him back to land because he was just losing it. So
who's they? Who was trying to get him off? Like,
well, describe that. That's kind of interesting. What was that about?
Bro, you know why the situation like really sucked.
We're trying to get him out.
The parents on the boat were trying to, got it.
Like they were just trying to, like the parents on that boat were trying to get him out.
The parents on the boat were trying to, got it.
Yeah. But
So there were a lot of adults out there as well as young people.
Yeah.
When you say the parents were trying to...
Trayston was losing it because he got an altercation, which we believe was with Evan, over a conversation he was having with his
girlfriend.
Trayston and his girlfriend were having an argument. We believe Evan, thinks we know it's somebody else in the same age range, comes up and says, hey, like, this isn't cool or whatever. Trayston and this guy get into a physical altercation. The parents get Trayston on the boat, and then Trayston's friends start taking over this fight. And so Trayston wants back off the boat, and he's like, let me fucking go, essentially. Like, let me go. I want off this boat. Like, I need to get to whomever. Like, I think he says, let me at least get my fucking girl. That's what I think he says, but I don't know.
Get him out on a boat. You had mentioned 2 boats. Are those 2 boats different boats?
Different boats.
They're different boats. They were on down. They weren't exactly by Nolan and whoever's boat he was on. They were on down.
You're talking to a bunch of people, I'm sure.
They're different boats. They were on down. They weren't exactly by Nolan and whoever's boat he was on. They were on down.
You're talking.
Okay. Holy shit. He's under the impression that there was only 2 boats tied up. Even when he saw Nolan, that there was 2 boats tied up. There should have been 3. This means he saw Nolan after the boat after the 3 boats would be only 2 boats, which is what I've been saying. Yes, Katie's mom is deceased. She died of cancer. It's really sad.
Talking to a bunch of people, I'm sure, who knew Nolan and maybe who were on the island. What's the buzz? What are people saying with you and your friends?
I mean, obviously, it's hard. Like, I post my friend Nolan just to have, like, show everyone that, like, how good of a person he was and try to, like, bring closure to, like, whatever the hell happened. Like, this hurts. Like, I've never lost someone this close to me. And, like, for people to, like, to say that I was the last to see him, and keep twisting my words and say that how did, like, and his closest friend would have knew his password. Like, so they're trying to say that, like, paint me a picture to been, like, the reason this is happening. I promise you guys, if I was the last person to see Nolan, I seen him by himself, he would have been home with us today. He would be with us today. I would still be able to talk to my friend every single freaking day. And so it really just, it hurts me so much, like, hearing people say these things, but at the same time, people are just going off what they hear. So
I think what he means by what he's saying is that Nolan wasn't by himself the last time I saw him. And he's also saying that there was 2 boats and not 3. That means that the boat had already broken apart and left. Like, the boat that was leaving and wanted to leave at I think it was just a little bit later than he thinks. Holy shit. Oh boy.
It's hard, honestly.
You're saying that when you posted about Nolan, a lot of the comments you're getting are people berating you, saying that you should know more about what happened to him?
Yeah. When I feel like that shouldn't be the case, because I also had a completely different ride out there. He had his own people. I mean, he hangs out with these guys like almost all the time. So
here it is. When I heard him say that, it was like, hello, people, wake up. Hello, people, wake up. He hangs out with these people all the time.
Different ride out there. He had his own people. I mean, he hangs out with these guys like almost all the time. So I'm thinking he's fine. I'm not thinking nothing of it.
And you never heard of Nolan having any kind of an argument with these guys before? You never heard anything like that?
No, sir.
What are people saying? I mean, these guys,
Actually, I'm curious
some of them have gotten lawyers.
Well, I'm curious if the police have, I know they said they're still investigating. Did any investigators ever speak to you about what you saw that day?
No, sir.
That's odd.
They need to. His boat information of when he saw Nolan and what the boat situation was is the most important thing I've heard in this entirety. When you break down the boats. But we needed Warren's first interview. So when you get Warren's first interview and you're talking about that we tied up the 3 boats. We tied up these boats. There was 3 boats that they tied up. When he sees Nolan, he didn't know which boat was Nolan's because there was 2 tied up. There was 2 tied up. That means that the boat left and he then is there, okay? It already, he has to remember when he, whoo-wee. Oh boy. I'll tie up your boy, Lana. Damn.
I don't see why the cops have. I don't see.
Okay, so he's the only one so far out of all the friends and family that are doing media interviews that says the cops have not talked to him. Katie her family stating that they've cooperated with law enforcement.
Well, what he has is bombshell information. Oh boy. This takes off in a way everybody that left on that boat, and it's take them out of the equation now. And put everybody out, everybody who left on that boat, they're out.
Easton said that he's talked to law enforcement. Lucas said he talked to law enforcement. I mean, Warren on that interview says he talked to law enforcement. Like, why? Like, Javon's like the only one law enforcement hasn't talked to.
I don't think he realizes what he has, but I'll tell you what, there's a reason that somebody wanted this down and TMZ took it down for them, and allegedly supposedly it was because
that's a little odd.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why,
but somebody's gonna say it.
Well, the cops will have to talk to me. I mean, obviously, like, you know, like I had said my plea, like, because whenever I had talked to the people at Sunheard, it was whenever, you know, the body was discovered and the autopsy people and all those people were there.
Well, I'll tell you why I'm surprised.
To the people at Sunheard, like,
law enforcement hasn't talked.
Well, the cops will have to talk to me. I mean, obviously, like, you know, like I had said my plea, like, because whenever I had talked to the people at Sunheard, it was whenever, you know, the body was discovered.
Sun Herald, why he thinks talking to Sun Herald is the same as talking to the police. Sun Herald is what he's saying there. When I had talked to Sun Herald. And the autopsy people, like you're talking about Colin Kaepernick? You're talking about Ben Crump?
I had talked to the people at Sunheard, it was whenever, you know, the body was discovered and the autopsy people and all those people were there.
Well, I'll tell you why I'm
They're not law enforcement.
surprised, because you knew Nolan well, and you knew that he was friends with these guys who were the last ones to be around him before his body was found. And I would think they would at least want to know, hey, just the things we're asking.
Right.
You know, did you ever hear of any of this stuff? It's odd to me.
Just to gather information.
Yeah, that the cops wouldn't have contacted you. Yeah.
It's not odd. Y'all playing it real smooth.
No, it is, because you need to know what boats were out there, man.
That, like, this whole case thing, like, whatever, like, this whole situation, and none of this adds up to me. So, like, it's really hard, like, for, like, people to just, like, keep on saying things.
Hold up, that's deep. Nothing wasting 10 times.
I'm sure, Javon, you've seen the point that, do you think, having been there on the island with this large group of people, that race plays a factor in whatever happened here?
I don't want to answer that. I don't want to answer that question. I wouldn't say, like, Yeah, I wouldn't want to answer that question. I mean, obviously, we go to Ocean Springs. We're gonna have white friends, so like, that's. I mean, I guess it's pretty normal down here. But
Yeah, and I hear you. If that's, I
Your
guess
girlfriend's white, isn't she?
you're saying that it's normal. It's not out of place to be a black teen in that area and that you have white friends, right? That's
Yeah,
not
like-
not uncommon,
Yeah.
is what you're saying.
I'm sure every black person has white friends somewhere, you know. So I wouldn't say that it's a whole race thing, but it's just like
I think they actually make a really cute couple. She's really pretty and he's really cute. Are they still together? Is it the girl that he was dating throughout high school?
obviously they're gonna paint it as that because none of this adds up. So
got it. Okay.
All right, Javon.
Thank you so much for.
He said obviously they're going to paint it as that because none of this adds up. Well, he just put a really big a plus. He just added some stuff for all of us guys. I'm telling you, he just said the two boats thing. When I think I should rewind that and just make sure that it's exactly when he says that. It's just
for two boats tied up.
There it is.
Man, but like had happened between one of my other friends. I don't want to say his name, but he had got an altercation. So I went and checked on him for about 20 minutes, 20 to 15 minutes. I came back, Nolan's boat and the people that he was with were gone. But the thing about the two boats that I said,
Nolan's boat and the people that he was with were gone.
there were two boats tied up. So therefore, I didn't know which boat Nolan exactly was on because they were both tied up.
Boom. Holy shit. So the question to ask him there is, so was there only one boat? And he's going to be like, no, because there was two. So when you came back, was there only one? You get what I'm saying? Like either way, any way you slice or dice this is fucking bombshell, but nobody's able to figure it out because we can though, right, T? We got it. Wow. Holy shit. You guys, the first boat, whoever was on that first boat, sayonara. They have nothing to do with this. I believe that he saw, without a doubt, his recollection of seeing Nolan and that Nolan was there and there was only two boats means that the boat left. Means that third boat that left first is gone and he saw Nolan after that. And I think that, me personally, I believe that Nolan did get his phone and his shirt and whatever and transport it to a different boat. Because then the question would be is, since Wyatt has two boats and the girl's like, Wyatt was saying, get in the boat. Well, was that which boat? He had two boats and Wyatt, which one was Wyatt driving? Was he... Woo-wee. And then this goes with everything as far as when it doesn't matter what Snapchat would show at midnight. If everybody's back at a certain area by that time, it doesn't tell you what time. You'd have to do you would need his phone and to track it. But part of me, I swear, why do I think a part of me is going to come back that his phone never left Wyatt's truck down there? Like meaning like it stayed wherever the truck was. I don't know. Because it seems like people are hopping around a lot. And I could see that the phone just stayed in the truck. And because I don't think Wyatt would have known about the phone if it was in the boat, unless, like I said, unless you're going around and like cleaning up your boat and getting everything out of every nook and cranny. Or if they have a phone area, like, hey, throw all your phones and like, I don't know. TMZ don't take down stuff for nothing. I know. How to explain the phone and keys getting back to land? Well, see, that's the biggest myth. The keys were never off land. The keys never actually left where he parked his truck that night on July 3rd. He left his keys there. That's where his keys were with it, where his truck was. Because then he took a ride from, everybody got together in just one vehicle and drove to the docks. Drove to the El Camino / public docks. And so his truck and his keys were at that house where he slept over the friends on July 3rd. And so what Nolan's mom's, the friend, went and got, she got the wallet and the phone at the same time. The dad got the keys from a different house and where his truck was, or his car, whatever the heck he had, and then drove it out of there. And where Wyatt was there was a boat that was still on a truck that was still in the driveway, hooked up. And now it makes sense, for me at least, if Katie, hey, just tell him that, he went back with them, and however this would be like if she says that, you're putting it on that first boat that's leaving. I don't know. Oh boy. Okay. Well, let's hope that they come out with part 2 today. Thank you guys so much. Oh, wait. I think you had one more other part I want to see. When you showed. Where was...
On Monday morning. And so his family is not accepting that it was an accidental drowning. They haven't been told anything, but that's been the suggestion. And they're not accepting that because Nolan was a college football player. He was a superior athlete. He was in great fitness and condition. And so for them to try to say, well, we got his phone, but we don't know where he's at, and then he turns up dead, they are not accepting it. And there are so many questions, so many contradictions.
So, Ben, there is you mentioned that
I think the biggest thing for me, something that was totally cleared up, is that this was not I'm on this boat type of thing. They went out there with tons of people, multiple boats, and even the one friend's like, the reason I didn't get on the boat that Nolan was on is because it had already, was already full up. So I went on the next boat. It was not like I don't know. These boats didn't, according to this kid, if Warner says something on his next interview alluding to the fact that all of these boats left at the same time, then there's a problem, a huge one, because that is directly in contradiction with what he said about when he saw Nolan. He didn't know what boat Nolan was on because there was 2 boats. Wow. All right, guys. See you on the next one. Peace out.